Joining you with my good girlfriend, Nyki
Yes,
Robinson.
Nike like the goddess and not the shoe. Hey y'all.
We are here to talk about all things Women History Month, collaboration, our friendship,
Sisterhood,
sisterhood, business,
business.
politics.
Yes.
And so thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm going to start by introducing my girl.
Okay. All right.
I wrote a whole introduction because she's amazing. So again, this is my girlfriend Nike. She is daughter of the amazing
Yes.
Sherry Fralin.
Yes. Rest in peace, mommy.
She is mother to Big Nile,
Yes, my baby.
and she is the founder, CEO, visionary, all things of Black Girls Vote.
Check out the hat.
Thanks for being here with me, Nike.
Thank you for having me. It's so funny because really quick story, and you all will see I will not necessarily stick to the script, but Nakeia and I are also sorority sisters. And I remember when I first crossed, right, I had all this Delta stuff, right? And somebody was like, "You must be a Neo." And I was like, "How did you know I look like a Delta?" It's like, because I had all this Delta stuff. So that's how I feel with my Black Girls Vote gear. I have on my hat and my sweatshirt today. And
she's repping.
Yeah, I have to rap. I tell people all the time, Black Girls Vote has been the most challenging thing I've ever done, but it's also been the most rewarding. So rep your brand. So today I'm really repping my brand, Black Girls Vote.
Most challenging and most rewarding pre Big Now, of course, because
yes,
he is.
Oh yeah, he's so perfect.
Look at her. She just lights up when she talks about him.
Lights up about Asher.
Yes.
All right, so I will introduce Nakeia. So it is an amazing opportunity. I'm so humbled and honored to introduce the Nakeia Oliver Drummond, but it's Nakeia Drummond. So we could say Oliver because I've known her for a while. We'll get into that. She is Jason's wife, Asher's mom, and Lynette's daughter. Right?
Absolutely.
Right. And so outside of that, she's also the founder of NLD Strategic, founder of She's Well Network, and The Well. So all things amazing, but more importantly, all things Black girls, Black women. That is Nakeia. She is a Black woman's champion. And so I just love that about how much you not only pour into yourself and your family, but just pouring into Black women. And I'm always telling people, join the well, join the well, join the well. And so it's really good that we could just sit here and just talk about a little bit about our journey, who we are, but then also ways to connect with us and, join us in some of the things we have going on.
Absolutely. So let's go. Let's get started on some hot topics. Okay. So, what's pressing? We're going to talk for like 1 minute on things pressing in business and politics for Black women right now.
Oh my gosh, so today we're in middle of March, and currently we're in Maryland, and so the primary election in Maryland is in 2 months, right? We are both Baltimore region, and so May 14th is the primary election, and there are a lot of things that are on the ballot, but there are a lot of candidates, here in the city of Baltimore where I reside, the mayor, council president, our city council members, but then also what's really huge this year is the United States Senate. So the United States Senate race is a huge race in Maryland. On the last day that you were able to file, former Governor Hogan jumped into the election. And so what that means is for the first time in a long time that we could have a Republican senator that goes to the United States Senate. And what that could do is flip the House, right? And what that means, not too many states flip this year, but we're not saying that will happen. But we know that Angela Alsobrooks could be the first Black woman elected to the United States Senate from Maryland if she is elected, but she has to get through the primary election, which is against David Trone, or David Trone may win. We don't know. So we don't know what's going to happen this election year, which is a really big deal in Maryland alone, but that's also a national election. Right. But then also what's on the topic for Black women. I'm so excited that some of the things that we're doing with Black Girls Vote, we'll be releasing a survey. Just research about what Black women are talking about. Economics, as you know, right? Who's helping us start our businesses? We're hurting financially. A lot of people are like during COVID, that money was coming. The money, I was able to spend, and people are pinching their pockets now. And people attribute that to the Trump administration, however, not knowing fully how Congress works. So we're talking about money, job opportunities, education. I was fortunate last week. I got my student loan debt forgiven. Praise God.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, girl.
That's awesome.
But some people I tell people, anyone who's intimidated by the process, don't be intimidated. Just do it. I promise you, it could work if you have 10 years of public service. So that's big. Student loan debt. People are still talking about it. People who don't have the 10 years of service but need that forgiven. Also talking about education, educational opportunities, funding to HBCUs, but then also scholarship opportunities. So many things are on the ballot. And I went to speak to some students at Western High School.
Shout out to Western.
Yes, my mom is an alum. Nakeia is an alum at Western. And I was talking to them about when it comes to politics and policy, oftentimes people are intimidated by it.
Mm-hmm.
And they think it's such a big thing and they're scared. Like, I don't know if I want to get involved in it, but I tell people everything is political.
Yep.
And it's our job just to advocate. And advocate is speaking up and asking for what you want and thinking that I deserve this. And it's not that they're doing us a favor, but we deserve it through our tax dollars. And, we hire these elected officials and we put them on a probationary period. So there's a lot of things that's happening. And so one of the things that we're working on is being more vocal and being more of a resource to let people know all the things that are happening, all things politics.
That's awesome.
So what's happening and what are you feeling as far as Black women in business and the state of Black women and some would say Black women are under attack. So I'm just curious about your thoughts, feelings, things around DEI and supporting Black women and what are your thoughts?
So, as you mentioned, during COVID, there was much more money going out. People were spending more. A lot of small businesses, Black women-owned businesses, saw really incredible spikes in their businesses and had started doing the work to sustain growth and continue growth. And that growth slowed. And so I've had lots of conversations with Black women in business who made certain investments or got loans or different things to that aligned with what was happening in 2021 and 2022. But last year saw a drastic shift. And so I think that people are nervous about their businesses, and especially with this being an election year, right? People are very nervous about, what's coming down the pike in that way and about how they might recoup on some of the growth that they started to see themselves having. And a lot of that was connected to, some of the opportunities that came out of the federal government with, and even locally with COVID funding, but also, sort of the DEI, and I'm rolling my eyes because it was a DEI movement that was not,
I think it was disingenuous.
It was completely disingenuous. People were like, wanted to bandwagon what others started to do, but didn't really invest in learning and unlearning in their organizations. They just put, threw some money at a thing, stood up a program here, but didn't invest in it. And so my consulting business, we're in the DEI space, right? So even understanding that those who own businesses that are in that space have seen a particularly drastic shift and swing, their phones aren't ringing and things like that. And, articles every day about cuts to programs and things. But then in the business ownership space, for Black women, Fearless Fund going through the lawsuit that they've been enduring and the resources that have had to go into
just fighting that
and the distraction of it all is huge. But even that said, we're still starting and growing businesses. We are still doing what needs to be done because for the most part, Black women are, what did Wells Fargo term it in a recent report? Necessity entrepreneurs, meaning we've been unemployed or underemployed, or needing to support a particular life, like a lifestyle change or something, like whether it's caregiving or parenting. And so we've started businesses because they give us that flexibility. And so that's not going to change. We're going to still figure it out and start businesses. And so that's the part that's promising to me. It's just how do we make sure we're girding each other up, knowing that these things are are right in front of us where there is a less of an investment being made and that some of the investments that have been made will continue to change.
So are we finding that more Black women are still keeping their businesses, but going back to jobs or looking for jobs, or is it kind of like, and I'm sure it's a case by case situation, or more like sis push through, you can weather the storm. Because I think that's kind of like a touchy subject, or and I think oftentimes we're like, don't give up on your dreams and still invest in that business, but you got to keep the lights on too. And you may have a mouth to feed.
Yep.
I have a son to feed. And so like things like that, I think it sometimes I wonder how we as Black women are handling like mentally with all of the burdens and the stress that comes along with that. Because on one end, you want to invest in your business, you want to pour into it. You know, people say you got to give it your all, you got to do this, you got to do that. But then what's keeping people up at night is the ability to take care of their household, their livelihood, and protect that. And so, and I'm not sure if there's any studies or research or anything like that. I'm sure there are things that are happening, but are we really talking about the impact that it's having on, Black women? Our life expectancy, is that decreasing? Like the life expectancy of an entrepreneur versus someone who doesn't have to do that, who's working 9 to 5, because there's a lot of stress that comes with that. And I think oftentimes that's undergirded, or we don't talk about it, and then we don't always give ourselves grace.
No, we don't.
We don't.
We don't give ourselves grace. The rest, no one gives us grace, right? Like it's like it's not even like a learned behavior to give us grace. I'm actually reading a book now called "All the Black Women Are Activists." So good.
That's something I need to do. I need to do more reading.
It is so good.
I know you told me that Viola Davis book was good.
Oh,
and I started.
Yeah.
I just couldn't
Did
get
you listen to it?
I did the audio. I listened to the first chapter. It was good, but I wasn't like, yes, I gotta listen to it.
Oh, I loved it.
No. Have you listened to Sheila Johnson's book?
I haven't yet.
Through the Fire. That's a good one.
I haven't.
That one kept
Does
me
she read it?
Yes.
Okay.
Sheila
I like
Johnson's
when the author reads their own
Sheila
book.
Johnson's book
But
really good.
All the Black Girls Are Activists is really talking about how many of us like enter spaces in our professional life out of a need to fix certain things in society for us to be able to like thrive and be well. But
hold on, go ahead. I'm going to cut you off, but I feel like I was telling someone this the other day. We're always fighting.
Yes.
Like, it is so exhausting.
It's like,
why do I have to now fight this battle?
Right.
So even just like, I just want to just rush this. I was like,
all
right, someone's picking with you. I'll go and fight them. Like, this is happening to you. I'll go and fight them. Let me do this. Let me handle it. And that alone, in addition to the businesses that you're running, the nonprofit organizations that you're running, the household that you're maintaining, it's like, we always have to fight. And I'm like, I'm tired of fighting. I am a non-conflict person. Like, I don't like conflict. Right? And that's something that I know that I can work on. Like, it's nothing wrong with conflict. Conflict can be healthy and addressing it. But for me, it's just like, I don't like it. Like, I'm like easygoing. I like peace, and I don't like that. But
that's that Sagittarius in you.
I think that's it. But it's like we're always fighting.
We are. And look, and the Aries in me is like, I'm not going to start the fight, but if it gets started, I'm in.
But I'm also like, I'll cut you off. I'm like, okay.
Right. No, but that's part of like not wanting to fight too, right? Being like, I'm just not doing this. No, but I think a lot of I don't think as many women are Black women are sidepreneurs more than any other group.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
what's the average employee? Like, it's like one.
Yeah, right. And so like most Black women-owned business, 97% of Black women-owned businesses are solopreneurships, meaning they don't have to. They're not employer firms. But when I was just doing some research recently, you hear that about our businesses so much, but most businesses in the country are solopreneurships, like over 80-some%. So
that's like a degrading.
It's almost like it brings us down. Like you don't have an employee, but almost all businesses
don't have
over 80%. So and more are becoming solopreneurships because necessity is sending more people into the entrepreneurship world, not just us, but like for us, it's not even just a necessity of like, there's not enough jobs or something like that. It's the necessity of like peace that we can't get in certain spaces. So I do think we will continue to run down that road, as we always have.
Absolutely. Something that's interesting about Nakeia and I is that we went to middle school together, and so which is so cool because I remember being on the bus and Nakeia and I being on the same bus because we didn't live too far from each other. We were on the same bus, but we weren't friends. Right. We knew each other, but we went to because you lived on the same street as Chanel. And then so I lived like behind you on Carthage, so we would come up in middle school.
Oh my
gosh,
I did not realize we were on the same bus.
Rodney was on our
bus.
Like,
and Paris.
That is so hilarious.
Who were my husband's groomsmen and still
so
his
cool.
friends.
That is so funny. And so we went to middle school together. We weren't like friends in middle school and high school. We didn't really follow each other. But in college, you went to Penn State. I went to Frostburg. And we both pledged undergrad. And so one of your chapter sorors was Nick James, who was like, we called her soror bruh in my chapter because it was like she was a soror, but when I first met her, she had on fatigues. But she loved you and she loved me. She would also say, you got to do something together.
Yes.
And then when Nick passed, I don't even think we saw each other at the funeral.
No.
But it was kind of like, I think I reached out. I was like, I don't know what it is, but we need to do something together. This was well over 10 years ago. I don't know the year that Nick passed. And so let's just tap into that kind of like, and when I reached out, we went to T-Volve. I remember going to T-Volve, and I still go to T-Volve to this day.
Same.
Yeah, that's so funny because I love going to like T-Volve. Just kind of like, when do you decide to, and people want to meet with you all the time. Like, let's do something, let's partner together. How do people, I don't want to say infiltrate your space, but are able to like, when do you feel like you want to work with someone or connect with someone or partner with someone? And I think it can be overwhelming at times. And I think at times we try to be a girl's girl. We want to feel like, not necessarily want everyone to like us or anything like that, but we want to feel inviting.
Yeah.
And feel like, some people like, I'm not approaching her, but being approachable and then wanting to work with us. There are plenty of times where you connect with people, I connect you with people, but then sometimes like, I just don't have the capacity or this may not work for me. So how do you deal with that? And how do you just balance all of that?
Ooh, that's heavy. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm always as deliberate as I intend to be, or that I probably need to be, like with motherhood, with just life. And then we find ourselves like exhausted and worn out. Yeah. Like part of it is just like not necessarily managing my own energy the way that I should at times, because I do want to, like, I am a girl's girl, right? And I do want to connect with people, and connecting with people actually gives me energy. But I also, the other side of me really loves to be alone. So it's like I have to like balance that too. But coming together, like when I decide to collaborate with somebody, almost always it is on vibe. Like like if I feel the energy. There have been a couple times where I have ended up collaborating or connecting with people that I didn't necessarily feel the vibe there, or the vibe faded pretty quickly for me, but in a desire to like maintain a relationship or, like I don't ever want to not be able to work with somebody. And the reality is you can't necessarily work with everybody. It's growing to a point of accepting that, but my heart doesn't want to not be able to work with anybody, but realizing that sometimes the energy that it takes
working with
the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? Like, or it's just healthier. Let's just say that it's not even about worth. It's like it's healthier for you not to. So sometimes it's trial and error, honestly.
Got it.
What about you?
It's hard, and I think because people hear Black Girls Vote and want to partner, and we want to partner with as many people as possible, but it's hard, and to your point, and like being, we work for a lot of consultants, comms, PR, social media, help with operations. So it's not like I have this big dedicated staff. Like, okay, you take this meeting, you take this meeting, you take this, like Nike and then oftentimes I don't need to show up to all the meetings, but and then I 100% agree with the vibes. And then sometimes it's just not there. And it's not that it's a matter that isn't pressing or important to us or Black women or voters or something like that. It's just kind of like, can your team and my team work together? And sometimes it just doesn't, the synergy isn't there.
That's real too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, having to consider your team in addition to you, especially when you and your team have a good vibe, because when the vibe ends up being off, your team is coming to you. Like, this is killing me.
Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this? Or
to your point, is the juice worth the squeeze? Because a lot of times, and one of the things that I'm super proud of is that with Black Girls Vote, we love to create an experience. Like it's like it has to be a vibe. Shout out to Nay and Shamia and other people who help us. It's like when you come to a Black Girls Vote event, you want it to feel like a Black Girls Vote event. that's not cheap,
No,
right? And, shout out to our sponsors and people who will sponsor us and support us. But it takes more than just saying, all right, let's, have a meeting. And, we did something with Dana recently for Valentine's Day. We got to have the hearts. It got to feel pretty. It got to look a certain way.
Right.
And that's a lot of work that goes into it. And we don't always get things sponsored as well. So to the point, it's like, all right, we did it. But then also, when we talked about it before this, measuring our outcomes or just kind of like just being more intentional and deliberate about, looking at the statistics behind it. And does it make sense? How much time did you put into it? And then what was the outcome? And did you meet it? And everything isn't about financial outcome or, how the quota. Did you engage this many people? Did you hit those targets? And sometimes we do it for the kindness out of our hearts, but sometimes we're just being more deliberate and strategic.
Yeah. So. But I love the point you made about protecting your people too, because like that's big for me. Like if I work well with somebody, like I need to make sure that they feel safe, supported, like all of that. And so that they can continue to show up in their best. So we are hosting two things next week, not just one, but two. We, we couldn't just do one thing. We are hosting two things next week. One is
legacy. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm like, are you pausing me?
No, go ahead. No,
one is our leadership and legacy luncheon, which we invited 50 some women to join us. And these are women who are building businesses or are leading corporations or who are working in government and politics, who really are thriving in the space, and women who have supported us or have said like, hey, we need to get together, and it just hasn't happened or whatever. And so
I would say these are women who are building a legacy.
Women who are building a legacy. Yeah. And so what's legacy for you? And like how's it changed even since motherhood?
Oh gosh. I think legacy is about honor, right? And just honoring, for those who don't know, I lost my mom. And so it's about honoring who she is and what she instilled in me, but then also what I'm instilling in my son. And then also beyond that, the next generation of Black girls that I feel that I'm assigned to, and it's my duty. And, I understand the quote so much when it says, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And in a sense that, you see Nyki, but it's like, there's a whole bunch of village of Black girls that I need to push this and do this right and do it well so that I can create access and opportunity for them. Yeah. And so when I think about legacy, I think about it's so much greater than you. And even with you, like if I don't show up, like and shout out to our team and our partners, if 2 weeks ago we didn't show up for our cocktails and conversations, there's a girl who may not have been able to go to college or finish her semester because we gave her a $2,500 scholarship. Then now she can continue her legacy for her family and her community and create generational change. And that's because we showed up. And even up until it, I'm just like, it just feels a little different. I don't know if we're supposed to do it, but then that's a part of legacy. It's like showing up sometimes when you don't want to show up and do it, but more so like it's so much bigger than you. And just think about, I tell people all the time, like Black Girls Vote and starting Black Girls Vote gave me the biggest gift. And that was being able to have the luxury of being able to support my mom when she was sick, right? And so I didn't have like to, always like check in the clock and work and somebody like Nyki, wait. And so that gave me something that there's no price tag you can put on that. And
no,
so
not at all.
Not like to being able to go to the doctors or being able to maneuver my schedule and my calendar to accommodate her. So that, and that's so for me, when I think about legacy, I think about all of those things. And then there's some people that I haven't even met yet. And people you haven't even met yet that we're assigned to. Wow. And so when I think about that, it's just like, we get emails weekly, at the cocktail, and the Black Girls Ball 2 Summit we just did. We had 7 young women fly up from Spelman who were starting the Black Girls Vote chapter in Spelman. That's and amazing. Those they're ready. And then last week, Fisk sent an email, and then Delaware State sent an email. So I think about us being on these college campuses and the work that we were doing, and then it'll go beyond us and beyond my team now, and so it will outlive me. So that's when I think about legacy. How about you?
That's awesome. Most recently, I've really started thinking about legacy as one of my board members said it this way, and I can't think of a better way, but she said, reclaiming our grandmother's stuff. And so not just like our immediate grandmother, but the grandmother before her and the grandmother before her, like so many things that things she prayed about, things she knew she would not have, but like that she sustained and kept doing, even though she knew in this lifetime, like she wouldn't see it, or like that life was just going to still be hard, like that she kept forging ahead, because it takes people making a decision to keep forging ahead for legacy to be built in whatever conditions. And so reclaiming their stuff is what I think when I think about legacy. Is it's continuing to lay the ground for the next person to walk over it, to run over it, to ride over it. And so
Congressman Cummins, who was a mentor, he actually a letter to grad school. Yeah, and he
talk about legacy.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
He would always say, "Our children, the messengers to a future we'll never see. They're our messengers. So we are sending messages to them that I won't get there because I know I have a finite time, but they're the messengers to the future we'll never see." I was like, wow, that is so true.
So it's like the work of the Highland Project, right? Like that 7 generations been challenging me, right? Because we run and move so fast. And I don't know about you, but in my family, people don't live to be 100 or whatever. And so it's hard to see that far out sometimes, but that's legacy. It's like whether they live a long time or not, they planted something. Yeah. Those seeds grow and those flowers bloom, and the next generation, there's more flowers in that garden.
So blooming beyond boundaries.
Blooming beyond boundaries. And that's the theme. That's our theme this year.
Yes, with a little lemon twist.
Yes, we make lemonade. We do. Those flowers turn to fruit, and we make the best of the fruit that we grow. And I mean, it's great fruit. Yeah. Like amazing. Like we are a harvest.
So Black woman, whoever's watching this, or man, you are amazing, right? You are amazing.
And you are legacy. You are somebody's legacy, and we hope you feel that and you honor that in yourself. So we're also hosting
a happy hour.
Yes. And that's open to everybody.
Yes.
So the luncheon isn't about like who gets to come and who doesn't.
Because I know some people are like, why didn't I get invited? Why didn't I get invited? Like,
so that's why I was like, was that why you were looking at me?
No. I'm at a place now where it's kind of like we curate this space, and it's not easy, but I'm really big on like putting the right people in the room. Like, oh, you need to meet this person, you need to meet this person, and not saying there's some people we could have had in the room, absolutely, but there's always next year. We're building this. This is our second year doing
and everything is timing and moments, right? Like whoever is in the room this year, like they needed to be there this year. And there's a lot of rooms that like I look at from the outside and say, wow, like I would love to get in. Oh, why didn't I, get in? But sometimes you're invited in the room when
in that season. Yeah. And it's also something to look forward to as well.
It's something to look forward to.
Oh yeah, that's what happened for me. It's just a matter of time.
And our table's growing, which is cool. Last year, we have about 15 more women coming this year than last year. So that's exciting. But
Nicole I said Nicole because Nakeia big balling.
Me? No. Shout out to our sponsors. Yes. Thank you so much to our sponsors. But we are hosting happy hour at Black Swan next Wednesday, 5 to 7 p.m. It's open for all.
And drink specials.
Female DJ.
Will be there. So just come and hang out with us and just network. And this season, I was talking to my therapist this week and just our check-in. And he said, one of the things I want you to focus on is like looking at your circle, right? Mm-hmm. And I drew it on a piece of paper, like my circle. Who's the person in your circle who's your encourager, right? Mm-hmm. Who's the person who motivates you? Mm-hmm. Who's your accountability person? Mm-hmm. Who's your pit bull, right? Who's the person that you call when I need help with my child? Like and then when you think about that, in your network, that's so critical because there's some gaps that we need to fill, and you just never know who you'll meet when you're just out. And half the battle, what I can honestly say, is showing up. And there's so many times I've been places I did not want to go,
you meet somebody that you really needed to meet.
That's all.
Or that needed to meet you. Like you never know. Like what you'll say that like just pours into somebody, that speaks to somebody, that gives them.
I've been meaning to meet you or catch my senior. Yep. But you got some crazies out here too. Like, you don't want to meet me, but no, but that's real.
And they'll be there too.
It's just sometimes it really is just showing up and just like, it's nothing but God. You just attribute that to God, and you just showing up. And sometimes it's not easy. And so, and also give yourself grace, even when there are times you can't show up, give yourself grace for that.
Give yourself grace.
But then also, and I know we were wrapping up soon, is that in this season, I also want people to take the moment in time to say, I'm proud of me, right? And even just like, I'm proud of me for just doing this. I'm proud of me for showing up today when I didn't want to. I'm proud of me for getting this done on my list. I'm proud of me for completing this application, this grant. I'm proud of me for following up on my personal matters or scheduling my doctor's appointment. Proud of me for, just doing those things. The things that we put off and we do for other people, and just proud of me for just doing things and showing up for yourself. And so, and I think once you start counting those wins, you don't necessarily focus on the things that you don't have, and just being grateful for what you do have and how you're showing up in the season.
I'm proud of us. Because we are showing up. And I think it's a great note to end on. There's a Lucille Clifton poem called Celebrate With Me. And she says, one of the lines in the poem at the end is, come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed.
Oh, that's a Highland poem. That's Gabby's favorite poem.
Yeah. So yes, and shout out to the Highland Project. But yes,
shout out to Nakeia, because Nakeia is one of the fellows in this cohort.
Cohort 3.
We up. And hopefully you're okay with me sharing the story. Like, she didn't make it the first time, right? And so and then,
or the second
time, but like, Nakeia, you got to do it, because it's like, Nakeia, you should do this, you should do this. But oftentimes we don't.
That was a sign.
That was a sign.
It's like they're gonna fall sometimes.
Yeah, or just
it
may not show in the season that you thought it was supposed to happen, but this is the season that you were supposed to be in. But the big thing is like persistence and pushing through, and that's not always easy. And then this class is the class you were supposed to be in, with the people, the connections. You have a bomb class.
I do.
It's like the bomb.com. Cohort 1 was great, but just seeing how you showed up and continue to push through is a beautiful thing.
No, I'm excited that I pushed through, and I've shared publicly. I applied 3 times, third time's a charm. And so, shout out to the Highland Project. And that is a poem that Gabby shares all the time. But I thought about it as we were as I was reflecting on the luncheon, and so really excited to host this with you. We said for years we need to collaborate. Last year was the first time we collaborated on something, and it's up from here. It's just up from here. And so join us next Wednesday at Black Swan. Going to be good vibes. It's always good vibes.
Shout out to the Black Swan team, who always just open up their doors and support us in what we do.
Absolutely. And shout out to Holly, who, when you see all the images, just know that Holly had her hands on it too. I know you mentioned today. I want to make sure I shout out Holly from our team.
Hold on, I got a whole list of Black girls people saying no.
Has her hands on all of our events, and really blessed. I couldn't do it alone for sure, because I do not like all these details, but really excited. Thank you for joining me, Nyki, and we'll see y'all next week.